For today's adventure, we conclude our 4-part series on Forest Lawn Cemetery. Let's get started. Here we find the final resting place of Erastus Granger. He is a veteran of the War of the Revolution. He is also one of the founders of Buffalo, who, as an agent of the U.S. government, settled many affairs between white men and Indians. The first land purchased for Forest Lawn was part of his farm. Buried but a few feet away from Erastus Granger, we find Abner Granger. He was also a veteran of the War of the Revolution. He passed away in 1816. Here we have a few more veterans of the American Civil War. Here we have William A. Justin, who passed away in 1865. And mere feet away from him, we have Captain John F. Cammon, 1829 to 1879. He was part of the 65th Regiment, New York State Marines. Here we find the final resting place of Victor Moreau Rice. He was a lawyer, superintendent of Buffalo schools, first New York State superintendent of public instruction, initiated free public education in New York State. Here we have the final resting place of John S. Billings. He was a corporal, Company E, 26th Maine Infantry, passed away September 1st, 1863. I'm feeling compelled as I find him at this stage of the game to actually stop and honor Civil War vets as I see them. Of course, that being said, I will also stop and check out markers as I come across them from folks from the War of 1812 and the American Revolution. Of course, it'd be impossible to film each and every grave, especially some of the folks that were from Vietnam, World War I, World War II, Korea, and so on. That being said, we salute and honor all veterans of all wars. Here we have the somber resting place of Joshua Lovejoy, born 1770 to 1824, and his wife Sarah Johnson, 1771-1813. They were killed by the Indians at the burning of Buffalo, December 30th, 1813. Here we have the final resting place of William G. Fargo. He was the organizer with Henry Wells of the first transcontinental express service conducted by these men thereafter as Wells Fargo Express. Here we have the final resting place of General Samuel M. Welch. He was a commanding officer of the 65th Regiment National Guard of the state of New York and later Brigadier General of the 4th Brigade of the National Guard. His plot didn't have an iron marker with a scan sign on it. The best way to find this, because it took me multiple tries, is he's right on the corner where the section AA marker is. Another landmark to look for is his brother Thomas C. Welch's obelisk. Suffice to say, he is buried in the Welch family plot, which also makes things relatively easy to find once you know what you're looking for. This unique granite marker definitely bears a stop and a peek. It is the final resting place of M.A. Campbell. We're going to get a little better look at it. There's no way you can walk past a marker like this one and not film it and talk about it. So let's see. M.A. Campbell was born February 28th, 1801, passed away March 28th, 1861, it looks like. This is truly a wonder in funerary art. And while we're at it, let's take a quick little stroll over here. We're going to get a look at the final resting place of the DeBello family. It's a modern tombstone. The father, Gaston, passed away in, looks like 1967. The mother, Victoria, passed away in 1998. What caught my attention is the copper relief, obviously, of Gaston. We're going to take a quick pan over here to see the final resting place of E.L. Stevenson. Now, it's kind of hard to say that they're not noteworthy because every loved one is noteworthy to someone. Some of them, however, just have these amazing markers. So we're going to pan over this way. This is just some great scenery, and it's hard to just straight ignore. Over here, we're going to take a look at this beautiful little marker. Let's see, what does that say? Can I make this out? Not really. Passed away in 1868 in New York. Let's take a stroll around this way. Maybe we can get a better look. So, Clarence Marden, only son of Dexter P. and Mary Rumsey. So that gives us a little better idea of who's buried in this interesting marker. Now we're going to go over this way because I'm seeing some stones that are just really cool looking, and there's no way I'm just going to walk past and not get them on film. Stones like this we typically find in like revolutionary or pre-revolutionary cemeteries. This is John Ruggles Williams and Louisa Vapom, his wife. And it looks like there's a whole other host of folks buried in this plot. And we're going to kind of go over here and see another wave of stones just arranged so amazingly. It's just picturesque. It looks like this is the Williams family plot, actually. Now something over here is catching my attention. It's kind of easy to catch ADHD in a place like this. This is the Sprague family lot. Looks like we have some newer stones behind, and we have a sort of newer stone here. The flag indicates that somebody here was a veteran. Now over here, let's see what this is. Stuart J. Keller and Eleanor E. And we have a maybe a U.S. Marshal. If anyone knows, or a ranger, maybe if someone can identify this for me, you can put it down in the comments. I love doing stuff like this. Let's go up a little here. We're going to go this way. We're going to check out these amazing stones. Just so much to see. Where do you look first? So it looks like to the left we have the Dorschemeyer family plot. And over here, I love stones like this. Aaron D. Patchen, Isabella Milligan. So the one to the right looks like it's the wife of Aaron. Interestingly, She has a different last name on there, so I wonder, did they get a divorce, or did she just decide to get buried with her maiden name? Again, if anyone has any answers to this, please feel free to put it in the comments. And on the way to the next destination, to find my water and my notepad, I kind of caught this out of the corner of my eye. It almost has a Mayan influence. Let's go around to the other side and see what we can see here. That is definitely a unique marker. Kenneth Gill Cope, or Kenneth Cope. No death date, born May 11th, 1947. So it might be fairly recent. But what a stone. We're going to pan to my right, and this is just quaint. We have a row of concrete crosses. The front seems to be the Clinton family plot, and back there seems to be the Sears family plot. I kind of wonder if they knew each other. This magnificent structure is the Samuel F. Pratt Memorial. He was one of the greatest developers of Buffalo and its industries, whose imposing memorial of great decorative beauty is set off by a group of angels. We're going to definitely get a close-up look at all them. Words just can't really describe things like this. I mean, it's just wow. Let's get a look at these angels. Again, this is the Pratt Memorial. Samuel Fletcher Pratt. Mary Jane Strong, the wife of Samuel Pratt, is also buried here. Try and catch this so the sun doesn't bleach them out. Wow. Go around here. You cannot approach something like this and not do a 360. Such architecture. I mean, how much love goes into a monument like this? Unbelievable. Incredible. Here we find the final resting place of Ebenezer Johnson. He has the distinction of being the first mayor of the city of Buffalo, and to his wife, Lucy E. Johnson, and their daughter, Louisa. So yeah, you heard that right. Here we have the very first mayor of the city of Buffalo. Here we find the General Albert J. Meyer Mausoleum. He was the founder of the U.S. Weather Bureau. He graduated from Buffalo Medical College, surgeon in the U.S. Army, and later elevated to rank of brigadier general, head of the Army Signal Corps during the Civil War. Again, another example of an exquisite monument. And, bears without saying, it's literally right next to the one we just filmed here. So if you find this one, look to your right, and you'll find General Meyer. Here is a little more about General Meyer. It reads, he was a surgeon, brigadier general, inventor of the wigwag signal system, first director of the Army Signal Corps, founder of the U.S. Weather Bureau, U.S. delegate to the International Meteorological Conferences of Vienna, Austria, 1873, and Rome, Italy, in 1879. And once again, that's his impressive mausoleum over there. Here is a plaque honoring Ebenezer Walden. He was known as the pioneer patriarch of Buffalo. He was born May 15, 1777. He passed away November 10, 1857. He was born in Becket, Massachusetts. Williams College, class of 1799, first lawyer west of the Genesee River. He escaped captors during the War of 1812. Buffalo Board of Trustees president in 1816, founding member of the Buffalo Harbor Company, first judge, Erie County Court of Common Pleas in 1823, Federalist presidential elector in 1828, appointed mayor of Buffalo in 1838, father-in-law Brigadier General Albert James Meyer, instrumental figure in establishing the city of Buffalo and Erie County. Right above him is another plaque honoring Brigadier General Albert James Meyer, known as Old Probabilities. Here we have the final resting place of William Pryor Letchworth. At age 25, formed Pratt & Letchworth Hardware Manufacturing. He built his home, the Glen Iris Inn, on land he later deeded to New York State to create Letchworth State Park, the Grand Canyon of the East. Gonna come up and get a better look at it. If you've ever went to the movies, you can thank Mitchell H. Mark. He was the pioneer of the motion picture industry who started the first international chain of movie houses. So here's something you don't see every day that I wanted to document. It's a modern stone of the Watrowski family with a yin-yang symbol on it. It just caught my attention. The stone reads, "Love is the emblem of eternity. It confounds all notion of time, effaces all memory of a beginning, all fear of an end." Lynn is apparently still alive. Thomas P. was born in 1950, passed away in 1989. Here we have a Commodore of the United States Navy. He is Commodore Stephen Champlin, United States Navy, born November 17th, 1789, died February 20th, 1870. His wife, Minerva L., is buried here as well. Let's pull back a little and get a look at this unique little monument. I pretty much walked right into it. Kind of go around it here a bit. That is so cool. Holding vigil over Mr. President. Well, that'll wrap up this 4-part cemetery safari from Forest Lawn Cemetery in Buffalo, New York. Now, that all being said, what I can recommend is watching these videos is fine. They're great for reference, but I recommend coming out and exploring these places on foot. A place like this that's this large definitely bring water and your sense of adventure. Now, I do recommend that you go up to the main office and pick up and kind of laminate or put in a plastic sheet a cemetery map. Again, I've stated before that Forest Lawn Cemetery is really good at marking the sections, and the historical folks that I found here all have historical markers actually put in front of their graves. So that made it really easy to find it. Now, bear in mind, this particular cemetery here is massive, and it literally took me 4 days, 4 chapters, to cover the cemetery. Now, why do I recommend doing this on foot? A good handful of the folks that I found here were not in this, and I've actually brought it up through emails to Forest Lawn that some of the folks here definitely should be in this book and get their own markers to make it easy for them to be found. For example, the first mayor of the city, Buffalo, was definitely not in this, and neither was the stone marking the unknown remains from the Angola horror. And I did find a whole host of others of historical significance that weren't in here. The lead singer for the band Hole is in this cemetery somewhere, and I seriously couldn't find her. And that's unfortunate, because I would have loved to have had her in this video. So I kind of have to use that as an honorable mention. But again, that wraps up this cemetery safari. So if you like this content, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you next time. Remember, get a map, bring water. No matter how big or how small the cemetery is, always bring water in. In this case, food would have been good. See you next time.